Good morning. Hope you're having a marvelous start to your day. We're back again talking. I wanted to share a little bit about where we're up to on the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And we're up to chapter 6. And we're going through this book as a management team as part of work, and also just sharing it with anyone that wants to jump on and learn more about this book, Extreme Ownership, and about leadership. And I think it's got lots of great examples of ways that we can do better to be more responsible for the outcomes and the things that we want in our life. And chapter 6 is called Simple, Keeping It Simple. And so I really like this chapter a lot. I'm going to just bring up a couple of points that it talks about here in chapter 6. Simplifying as much as possible is crucial to success. Too complicated and people may not understand. Now that sounds very simple in itself, but we don't want to overcomplicate things. Focus on excellence, not perfection. I love that. Focus on excellence, not perfection. We've talked about focusing on progress before and not being perfect, but I like focusing on excellence, not perfection. They break down plans to actionable steps. There is more importance in simplifying things at any level. And that saying that he says here, simplicity is crucial to the success of any mission. When things are complicated, the teams involved will find it very difficult to understand and execute, to be efficient, to be able to be on task with what's involved if it is too complicated. It's also important that teams or departments ask their leaders questions so that they can get clarification on how to proceed. Leaders should be in the front line encouraging their juniors to seek clarification, right? So that also means you need to develop an environment where people are open to asking questions and not being put down because they did ask a question. Because sometimes when we are explaining things, we need to make sure that it is simple, keeping it simple. So there's many examples through the book in here in chapter 6. When chapter 6, he talks about some of these complicated missions that they're on and how other teams get involved and how Jocko decides to suggest some ways to make part of this more simple and taking actionable steps and not trying to complete this whole complex mission at once. I really like the examples, and then I've got an activity sheet that I'll put in the comments and then also share in the post my thoughts on this particular chapter, on chapter 6. But the questions start with, one, how can we encourage this in our personal and professional lives, keeping it simple? Really easy for me on this one is in our personal lives is breaking it down to our values. What do you most value in your life? And here's what I think is the most dangerous part of where we are in the world is that things are getting so busy that the distraction is going to keep you away from what's most important to you and your values. The distractions, the busyness is the part that's going to keep you away from your values. So check in, step back and look. I heard this once and I think it's great. We're always busy, right? But we're never too busy to do what's most important. So there are some simple values that we have that we should check back in and see if we are getting them. Are we living those? Are we getting the things done, taking care of our personal care, our mental, our spiritual, our physical health? Like all these things that we do value. What is it that you value? I think that keeping it simple in your personal life is stepping back and making sure that your values are being taken care of. In your professional life, I would say, what is it that you enjoy? Is it creative? Is it technical? Is it physical labor? Is it something else? Then look at it and see what you can do to improve. So I don't want to be known as the person that was in a position for 5, 10, 15 years or whatever it is and only have that 1 year experience because I lived that 1 year, 15 times. I want to be able to progress each year so that I had 15 years of progress, not just 1 year of experience repeated 15 times. So I look to what can I do to improve things just a little bit. It could be to do with small things like implementing an idea or a method, or coming up with a process or a different way to outreach, or efficiency or training. It could be in systems or sales or marketing. There's always something that we can do to just improve a little bit. So I really think that's key as far as keeping it simple. Is I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just looking at what I'm doing and what I like, and how do I improve that just a little bit. That's my take on how do we encourage keeping it simple in our personal life and in our professional life. And the last question here is, how do we keep things simple as technology, interagency operations, and policies and regulations seem to continually make things more complex? So there's such a vast amount of different occupations we have, and there's so many technical things being brought up, and there's a lot of licensing things, or there's a lot of technical programming, or whatever it might be in your industry. It could be in engineering, or it could be in a different field altogether. But what we see is that everything, this is what I like to think about it, is it can be very technical, right? And it can be very detailed, but everything is figure-outable. It's probably not a word, but everything is figure-outable, and we can break things down to more actionable steps. We don't have to, I understand and I know that some things are quite complex, but I don't think that we have to overcomplicate it, especially in business. There's always ways to make things clear and actionable steps, even when there are most complicated things. And that's similar in the book. In the book, in chapter 6, on keeping it simple, when they talk about some complex missions they have to, and then things that come up that they are unexpected, and this is life or death situation. This isn't just, oh, I didn't implement and figure out how to achieve that goal this month. This is life or death situation. So this guy's talking about missions and how keeping it simple, keep people alive, and progress through to accomplishing the goals that they needed when they were going out in these missions. So keeping it simple in business, I think the easiest part, I know that there's time pressure, there's budget pressure, but making it overcomplicated is never going to make it easier. So I recommend looking at it at a bigger point of view and seeing, okay, how can we break this down and how can we make it really clear to all those involved? He talked about making it clear, he talked about making it actionable, and he talked about making it as simple as possible, and so that they can then achieve their goals. I think that's really key. I think that's everything that I think. I think KISS, keeping it simple, sweetie. People say keep it simple, stupid. I don't buy that one. Keep it simple, sweetie. If we do that in our life, we will have more success in our personal life, in our professional life. I hope you have a marvelous day, and we will talk to you soon. We'll see you. Bye.